G'day Yoga Labbers, it's Mike. This is seated forearm and wrist stretch. So you'll be sitting at the middle or front edge of your chair. Your feet and knees are about hip width apart, and there's a few options here. You can grab the top of your hand and practice rotating your arm inwardly so the inside elbow is facing towards the ceiling. And for many of you, you'll feel it in the forearm through here and definitely in the top of the wrist there. If you can plant the top of your hand on the thigh and then rotate the elbows inwards. By planting it on the thigh, it keeps it static and intensifies the stretch even more with the opposite hand resting on there, keeping it in place. So the trick is to soften the shoulders and rotate the inside of that elbow until you feel a stretch right through the forearm. Most of us need this because our forearm's in constant flexion from mobile phones, computer keyboards, things like that. The trick is to keep that internal rotation of the elbow. This is deeply satisfying again. Top of wrist, forearm, and just softening that top shoulder. Keep rotating. And then change and do some circles with your hand. We're going to do the opposite now, where we're going to open up the underside of the wrist. So the inside of the elbow where we bend is facing the sky, and we're drawing the fingers towards the top of the forearm there. This time getting a stretch through the underside of the wrist and the underside of the forearm. Very satisfying cascade of stretch and release. If you can plant the palm of your hand on your thigh and put the opposite hand on top of the hand. Not much need for rotation here. If you want to go deeper, you can draw that hand up the thigh towards the crease of the hip. And I'm feeling a waterfall of release through here. It's really nice. And then change, and then circles. And we'll do the other side. So you can start by practicing the rotation and grabbing the top of the hand there, just gripping it with the opposite hand. And if you feel you've got enough flexibility, you can plant the top of the hand on that thigh. The further towards the knee, a little bit easier, and then rotate. The closer to the hip, the more challenging. It's different for everyone. Keep that rotation again, top of the wrist, forearm. For some of you, you'll see it. And as always, one side's more challenging than the other. Keep the rotation. Beautiful. Just a few more breaths. And then change. And then we'll do the underside of the wrist. So the inside the elbow where we bend faces the sky. We use our opposite hand to pull the fingers towards the forearm. And if you have the flexibility, you can stay here. That might be enough, or you can plant the hand on the thigh, leaning forward just a little, and then resting your opposite hand on, getting this beautiful, satisfying stretch through the underside of the forearm, and especially the underside of that wrist there. We always take it easy, guys. So no sharp, painful experiences. This stretch we could do once a week. That's more than enough, and more that you would want to do. Just a few more breaths. And then change. And then circles. It's going to feel funny for a few breaths and a few turns. And that was seated forearm and wrist stretch. Namaste.